What's going on, everyone? This is Off the Court. I'm Alec.
And I'm Pat.
Today's guest is one of the most successful upper division coaches of all time. He's not only won 6 Navasartian championships, but he's done it at 2 different chapters. Before coaches were required to wear polos at every game, he was bringing the swag with his throwback uniforms. And after playing for him in Armenia a few years ago, we both realized why he's such a great players coach and consistently gets guys that want to go play for him. Without further ado, today's special guest. Welcome to the show, Carlo Honanian.
Welcome.
Thank you,
Carlo.
gentlemen. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be
Definitely.
here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Of course.
How's everything been for you during quarantine?
It's been great, actually. Slow down a little bit. Life kind of sometimes throws a brick at you and you kind of slow down and, take a breath, enjoy the time with the family. I'm an optimistic person, so make the best out of a negative situation. So I got to spend a lot of time with the family.
That's good.
And, it's good. It's, looking forward to getting back on track, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, that's great to hear. A lot of people probably took this time and tried to do something with it. So spending more time with family is always good, man.
Definitely.
Let's get right into it. Most of the younger generation knows you with your success at Massis. They don't know the background of where you started coaching and your success prior to that. So take me back to the early days. You don't have to get in detail of the coaching stuff yet, but I want to hear, how did you start loving the game?
Well, I always grew up as a big basketball fan, big sports fan. I love football, I love baseball, I love the NBA, I love basketball. And I've always been a competitive person. So I started playing for LA Homenetmen, and Alex Pilibos is the school that I went to. So I started playing there, and I loved the game. And I grew up watching Magic Johnson. He was my favorite player of all time. So the way he played the game, it always stuck with me. Just the unselfish style. He had a little bit of that charisma, a lot of charisma, and he had fun playing the game. And that always stuck with me. And that's how I love to play the game. Now, when I was playing, I like to be the extension of the coach. Because he was a point guard, I want to be a point guard. Yeah. And I like to be an extension of the court. And I always wanted to make my teammates better. And that's kind of how I started getting into coaching. As my brother was starting to play, and we're a part of Homenetmen, and family members usually end up coaching, or fathers or older brothers. So I started coaching my brother, Ray, and his friends. So this was back in the mid '80s. I started coaching, and I was playing and coaching. It was fun, and the team kind of grew. And they got older, went from D division to C division to B division, and then finally, they just grew up and stayed together, and we reached A division. So in the '90s, they were playing A division, and at that time we didn't have 1A or 2A.
Yeah,
it was just because there weren't that many teams, so it was just upper A. So we started playing. They started playing in A division, and I was coaching them at the time, and I hurt my back, so I stopped playing. And when I hurt my back,
full-time coach,
it became full-time coach because I just couldn't stay away from the gym. I couldn't stay away from basketball. It was a passion of mine. I love it. I still love it. And I had to have something fuel the competitive juices in me. And since I couldn't play anymore, I just focused more on coaching. So as I got into coaching more, I started going to these coaching seminars. They used to have some in Vegas. I went back in the 90s and late 80s, I believe, with Bobby Knight, Indiana. He came out, he did some seminars. And Pat Summit, she passed. She was one of the best female coaches of all time for women's basketball for Tennessee. Went to her seminar. And, I was just like a basketball junkie. I just want to learn, And it consumed me, and I wanted to be good at it. And I hated losing. I hate losing more than I love winning. So it just kind of fueled me.
And there's a difference with that. People don't know the difference.
Yeah. And the losses sting more than the wins. So that kind of stuck with me. And like I said, growing up watching Magic, I always wanted to make others better. And so as a coach, I wanted to make my team better and my players better and make them reach their ultimate potential. So that's kind of how I started in LA and started coaching in A division.
Did you consider coaching in high school or any other league outside of Homenetmen?
I coached a little bit at Pilibos, but again, it would be a What the way my work was, I wasn't going to be able to leave because I had a 9 to 5 job, and I couldn't leave at 3 o'clock and go coach, and so I never really considered it. So I was getting my coaching, I don't know, juices from Homenetmen.
Yeah, like you mentioned, you're coaching an LA team, and that team ended up having a lot of success in the late 90s, early 2000s. You coached some big-time guys like Jerry Armen, Sako Balyan, Robert Momjian. The list goes on. We'll go back to those guys in just a little bit, but take me back to what it was like with those early 90s, 2000s LA teams. What was coaching those guys?
It was amazing. I was blessed. I've been blessed to have the opportunity to coach some of these great players. And not only are they great players, they're just great individuals. And one of the most fulfilling things about coaching for me is the relationship I built with them after I stopped coaching them or while I'm coaching them. And it's the friendship that I built with them. But then going back to coaching, so the team that I was coaching, we were a good team, but we weren't a championship level team. So LA at that time had a few really good players, and they were playing on different teams. So what ended up happening, they ended up coming and playing on my team. It was Sako Balyan, and then Jerry Armen came and joined. I had a big Karen, 6'9", one of the OG centers. So we built a pretty good team. We built a really pretty good team, and in '98 we won our first Navasartian championship.
Who did you guys play that year?
Ararat won.
What was it like winning your first upper A division championship?
It's I can't explain in words. It was just so fulfilling, and I really felt happy for the players because they're the ones that are putting the grind. They're the ones that are like there, and just the passion and the tears that I see in them. It was just so fulfilling.
Of course.
Yeah, but I think that's where our Ararat rivalry started.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you beat them in '98. And you develop the rivalry with them. You end up facing them a few more times. Mm-hmm. The Ararat rivalry, we've seen it as Ararat guys growing up. Yeah. We've seen it from our perspective. But for your side, from the LA side of things, what were your biggest challenges going through those rivalries with Ararat? I mean,
they were such a tough team to play against. And they had some great players. And there's great role players. I mean, Artin and Martin, we start off with them, and then Big Z joined the group, and he was the young one. He was playing for Ararat too, I believe, and then I think he joined their team. And they're just high IQ, just a solid, talented team, and they always gave a run for our money. I mean, it was two heavyweights always going at it. I got a lot of respect for the Ararat 1 teams.
Talking about those games just a little bit more, what was your mindset going into a few of those championship games? You guys beat them in 2005, beat them in 2007. What were some of the biggest highlights for you in those games? I know we've had the chance to watch those tapes again. They both came down to the very last shots. So as a coach, what was going through your head facing that team in those final games?
I mean, as a coach, I think your job is to make sure to do your best to put your team in position to win the games. Now Navasartian, it's a 1-game tournament. It's not a 7-game series. So it's not necessarily the best team that wins. It's the one that has the better game for that specific game. And or you could have a little bit of luck. The injuries are involved. Who's healthier? So there's a lot of moving parts to it. My main thing was to prepare the team. So we would always sit down at practices before the games and discuss who are the first option, second option, third option in their team. So we try to take their strengths away and have their fourth and fifth options be their main scorers, for example. So the mentality was if you take away 1, 2, and 3, especially 1 and 2, they would get frustrated. So now they're kind of off rhythm because next time they touch the ball, they're going to want to shoot, and maybe they're outside the rhythm of the game because of the fact that we're letting options 4 and 5 shoot the ball more and take our chances with that. So it was preparation. It was knowing who's going to be the one that's going to crash the boards, who's going to leak out to make sure that we have somebody back to make sure they don't get easy baskets. It was more tactical preparation, but at the end of the day, I think players win the games. I just want to do my best. I've always been hard on myself because if we lose a game, I always take the blame. I feel like what could I have done differently to help us win?
It hurts.
Yeah, it hurts.
As a coach,
because I feel like I've let my team down. But when we win, I love to give the credit to the team because they're the ones that are, busting their butts on the floor, and they're the ones that are making the plays happen. So
Z touched on that last time we talked to him.
Yeah.
He gave you a lot of credit, saying that the game plans that you guys formulated at LA against them was, done to a T. And when we watch those tapes again, we realize that was something that was, even though the style of game was different, the tactical part of it was still there at a high level, no matter how slow the game was. That was a big thing that you guys focused on, was the small details.
Yeah. I mean, Big Z, he was such a load. It's just so tough to game plan for him because you can't. The guy is just, he's legendary player.
Out of college.
Yeah. Your best defense is hoping he misses, I guess, The guy was, and he was in his prime. He was fresh out of college. Just an amazing player, man. He was just an amazing player. I love the rivalries, and I hope he continues playing. See? Continue playing, man.
Don't tempt him. He's already thinking about Armenia in 4 years.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
So you only lost one time in 2001, and that was against Orange County. The game's actually on YouTube for a lot of you that don't know that.
Correct, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. What do you remember from that game?
Yeah, the ones that you lose are the ones that sting. And like I said, that one stung, and it was a really weird game because the way it started, and at the time David Lalazarian was kind of like the talk of the town. Like, he was a new kid on the block. Everybody wanted to come and see him play. He was just off of Pepperdine, 6'5", a phenomenal player, man. He was just amazing player. So his team made the finals against us, and what happened that finals game is I don't know where he was. I don't know if it was work or he was stuck somewhere and he couldn't make it to the finals game on time. So Fred and Sevag approached me and said, David's not here. Do you want to delay the game a little bit until he gets here? And, look, at the end of the day, it's Homenetmen. Of course, we'll wait. And it's not win at all costs sometimes. It's, if you want to win a championship, you got to beat the best. And I didn't want to play the game and win and say, but if David had played, because that's, it's going to have like an asterisk to that championship.
Yeah.
So we wanted David there, and my guys wanted David there. Actually, more than I did, because my guys like Sako, these guys are competitors. Sako Balia and Jerry Armin. These guys, I had Henrik Bandari, Grinder, Joe Altunian, great defender, shooter. These guys were all competitors. I give these guys a lot of credit. They wanted David there. So I said, yeah, for sure. So we'll wait. So, and I don't remember exactly how long we waited. I could have been 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. And while we're waiting, we're just kind of shooting around. And it kind of killed the steam, the buzz, the preparation out of it. And the guys were like, okay, where is he? And he wasn't showing up. So then they decided, you know what, we can't really wait any longer. Carlo, we need to continue and start. Okay, that's fine. And so we started the game. And the whole game had kind of like an eerie feel to it. It was like weird.
Yeah.
You started off like...
You're talking
it was
like
a letdown.
Low 30s.
It was a letdown for the guys,
Yeah.
And again, I give Orange County, they won credit. They won. So nothing to take away from them. But our guys, the energy wasn't there.
Of course.
They were just so pumped up to play against David that when he wasn't there, it's like, and I think psychologically it kind of, we didn't play on fifth gear. They were, we weren't playing to our best abilities. So what ended up happening is you give a team a chance in a one-game tournament, and anything can happen. And they made a couple of threes, and we missed some shots. There's some bad fouls or whatnot. Next thing you know, it's a close game.
Yeah.
And then I think the game went to overtime, if I'm not mistaken. And then David walks in, and then the whole crowd goes
crazy.
Yeah, he comes in, and then he hits a couple of shots, and then I think Seto had the last shot at the buzzer and went in and out, and we missed, and we lost the game that way. So that's how that game went. But it was
that game was really interesting to watch. Yeah. I think there was about 2 minutes left in the game, and you just see like OC holding the ball.
Yeah.
Nowadays with shot clock and all that same game would have been a little different.
Yeah.
But hey man,
yeah, and it's a good thing that you note that, because back in those days we didn't have shot clocks, and so the scores were in the 40s a lot of times, sometimes in the 30s. It was kind of boring. And if you watch the old games, you'll be like, oh my god, this is so boring. But that's how the games were back in the day, and there was no shot clock, so you can hold the ball for a minute, 2 minutes, and limit the possessions. And when the game is close and it's a low scoring game, anything can happen.
Yep. Just talking about the guys on your LA team, I know you touched on more guys.
Yeah.
But what were those teams like off the games? Practices, hanging out with each other. We know those guys are all big character guys.
Yeah.
Tell me what it was like being around them.
Oh, it was fun, I have to say. It was a little bit difficult because I became friends with them.
Yeah.
So it was kind of knowing when kind of cross that line of friendship and coach. But I became friends with them. And these guys, Robert Momjan, one of the best centers ever, another amazing competitor.
Big time.
And then
we coach against him now.
Yeah,
so we know.
he's super competitive, and all these guys were A personalities. So there was a lot of hit. We've had practices where we've had fist fights, and I've had to break up fist fights during practice. But one thing with those guys is when it came on the court, they were one band of brothers. They stuck together, and win or lose, they just gave it everything. Right. And those practices, when I'm telling you, behind the scenes, there was just let's just say a lot of X-rated words and a lot of pushing and shoving and smack talking.
I think that's truly what defines the early generation of Homenetmen, is that willingness to go at it, kill each other at practice, go at it so hard, but when it comes time to right afterwards, you're best friends.
Yeah.
One of the guys I wanted to bring up, big piece that you guys added to your LA teams. And, when I was watching, I wanted to be like him, a young guy joining an A division team. One of my good friends now, Hrashq, comes onto he's a young buck coming onto an older team. How did you guys get him involved with the group so easily?
Well, Hrashq, I was coaching since he was, this tall. And he's like a little brother to me. And he's one of my favorite players I've ever coached. Great kid, great personality. He's not a kid anymore. He just turned into dad. Congrats, Hrashq. But amazing player, amazing IQ.
Big time.
And he came on as a rookie. And was it 03?
07.
07, sorry. Yeah. 07. I have my years wrong. So 07, he came up as a rookie, and we've added him on the team. And he blended in really well because his IQ was there without the personality issues that I had to deal with. So a funny game about the 07 championship is he was coming off the bench, and one of the things I like to do is give confidence to my players, and I had a ton of confidence in Hrashq. So I started him the second half because he was looking good out there. He wasn't nervous. It was his first time in the finals, and he came up and hit 3 big threes. And that was, huge threes and game changer. And in a low scoring game, 3 threes is, it's huge. And that helped us win that championship. So, I love Hrashq, man. He's just he's an amazing person and a player.
Definitely.
Big time. Just wrapping up the LA times just a little bit. We've seen a lot of teams come and go. How are you guys able to stick together for such a long time and be successful within a short, not a short amount of time, but you guys won 4 championships in a consistent amount of years. What was the key to that?
Well, the key was the core stayed together. And when you're building a championship, I don't want to say a dynasty, but if you're building a good run with a team, you have to have those solid core players. And I was very blessed because I had amazing players and leaders, like Sako Balyan, amazing leader and player. Jerry Armin, amazing leader and player. And it was easy to coach those guys in a way because there were coaches on the floor, so they made my job a lot easier. And then as some of the guys got older and I lost some players, I always revamped the roster. So Arne from Ararat too, back in the day, somebody you guys used to look up to.
Yes, sir.
At the time when he came on my team, it was like the biggest thing, I guess, because no one had ever left Ararat to go to another chapter. So he transferred to LA, and then he helped us win. Again, amazing talent, amazing player. Alan Kuchov, him and George Kuchov had a great run with the Montebello back in the day, and then when their team kind of fell apart and Alan came to our team, again, another amazing player and strong personality. So we kept the core together, and we just kept adding pieces. And then at Seto Terzian, at the time, he played Grant High School, and it was a big thing at the time. If you played high school ball, that was like the biggest thing. So, and he was a purely fundamental player, solid player, Seto, and we picked him up. So, I mean, I was always blessed to have a good talent, and if I'm forgetting anyone, please forgive me, guys. But I was always blessed to have some really, really good talent on those teams.
So you had a really good run with LA, and then you took a year or two off around there?
Yeah, so, like anything, all good things come to an end. So, the guys got older and, retired and stopped playing. So then once they stopped playing, I stopped coaching for maybe 2 years, I believe.
Then you ended up transferring to Massis chapter.
Yeah.
What was your influence to go there? Why'd you pick Massis?
Yeah, so I stopped coaching, and I always had the drive. I still wanted to coach, but my guys had stopped. And I've always been like a loyal coach. I don't like to jump teams. I like to stay with one group. So I stopped coaching, and then LA had this new team up and coming, and they already had a coach. So I didn't want to go and step on that coach's toes and say like, okay, I'm ready to come back, and I wasn't about to do that. So I just kind of let it be, and I was happy for LA that they were kind of coming up with the new generation and younger kids to kind of take over. So, but I wasn't coaching anywhere. And then a friend of mine, Coach Mike Antablian from Massis, he was coaching the Massis 2 team at the time. So he reached out to me and said, Carlo, I noticed you're not coaching. Would you be interested in coming to Massis and coaching with me? And I in the beginning, I'm like, it was kind of odd because I've always been in LA. I was a lifelong LA member, and I'm still an LA member. I play there. I try to play there, but it's when he asked me, it was like kind of weird. I was like, I don't know, making that switch because I had never done it. But then I thought about it. I'm like, okay, it's still Homenetmen, so it's not whether you're LA or Ararat or Massis. Yeah, we have the competitiveness. You want to win and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we're all brothers. It's all Homenetmen, so it's all the same cause. And I still had the itch, and I wanted to coach, and I wanted to win some more. So what ended up happening, I said, sure, I'll come to a couple of practices, and we'll take it from there. And the Massis 2 had a really young team at the time. They had some good players, but they were young. So I said, sure, why not? I love challenges. So I started coaching the Massis 2 team. The first year I coached them, we went 0-6. We were competitive in all the games, but we lost. We went 0-6. But it wasn't a bad 0-6. It was a good 0-6 because I know that sounds really stupid,
that sometimes.
But it was like we were in all the games, but we were just too young, and we didn't have the horses to kind of take us to the end at the time, or enough horses to win those games. But going back to when Mike and I talked, when he told me about the chapter, so I started looking at the chapter, and Mike Danielian had just came onto the scene in 2010, I believe. He tore it apart. Yeah, he tore it apart and won the championship, and they had a solid Massis 1 team with Shara and Nare Kopushan and a whole bunch of players that were playing on Massis 1. So I went to coach Massis 2, but I had a vision that hopefully one day, if things don't work out there, I would love to combine both teams and make one super team. And I think it's always good that a chapter has one strong team to represent the chapter versus 2 good teams who are good enough to possibly win.
Yeah.
Versus, if you combine both and have the right coach and right players and right chemistry, give a better chance of winning, especially when you're always going up against Ararat 1. Shant had, great teams. They were like super competitive, always going to the finals, and a lot of respect for the Shant guys. So you had to combine the teams. So that was kind of the vision I had. And in my mind, I never told anybody. I gave myself 3 years that I had to win a championship after the 3 years. And the third year we won in 2014.
You did it.
Yeah, we combined the teams. We had an amazingly stacked team, and we won in 14 for.
Was that tough in the beginning when you guys combined to get all those guys? I mean, they all had alpha mentalities. They got a lot of minutes. Was that tough to gel both teams together?
It's a little bit tough, yeah, because look, you're dealing with guys who are really good players, and they're used to being the man or first or second option sometimes. And then when you're playing with Mike and some other great players, it's like, you might not get the playing time that you want or the shots that you want a lot of times. So just kind of changing of the roles is sometimes tough. Like some guys can start centers, for example, any team, but they're playing backup on that team.
You got to
know?
make sacrifices.
You got to make sacrifices, but at the end of the day, it's just about winning, about winning the championships.
You touched on a point that I wanted to kind of talk about a little more. You mentioned how you made the switch from LA to Massis, and it was just about being a Homenetmen guy. It wasn't about LA or Massis at the time. Comparing the two generations and the two teams that you were at, what were some of the biggest differences that you saw going from LA to Massis? Was it any kind of a culture change basketball wise for you?
Yeah, great question. The game has evolved, from the 2000s to the 90s, from the 2000s to the way the game is played now. So my LA teams, we were more an inside-out team. And we had dominant inside players. Sako Balian, best power forward of all time, just a beast.
Unstoppable left.
Unstoppable left hook. Yeah, he was just money. We had Robert. We had Cotton in the beginning. Arne, he played inside, outside. So we had a ton of post players. So our game plan, our approach to the game was different back then. And the 3-point shot wasn't a big deal back then. It wasn't it was underutilized. So it was really inside out. It was going inside and then kick it out for threes if you're open. And guys, like Joe and Seto and Alan Kuchov or whoever would be hitting those threes. But it was mainly inside. We did a lot of high-low plays, a lot of low post double screen, inside quick hits. And so that team was more of and again, I had really high IQ players. And so that was that team. Transition to the Massis team was complete 180-degree turnaround.
Very different.
Because that's, again, the game has changed. This team was more of a run and gun, shoot threes, ton of shots go up. Shot clock didn't exist for us. Within 10 seconds, we shoot the ball. And it was complete 180. So I think as a coach, you can't be, my opinion, you can't be stubborn. You can't say, you know what, this is my style and I'm going to force my style on this team. I think as a coach, you got to look at the team and the talent and the players that you have. And you got to play to your strengths.
Yeah.
So with the Massis team, I have Mike Donelian and I have a lot of great players. And they love to run and gun. Why am I going to slow them down, limit their shots, and go inside when that's really not our strength? Where our strength is really the 3-point shooting and the spreading of the floor. Top of a game. So it was a complete 180. I had to adapt. It was a little bit difficult, but like I said, you have to adapt. In life, you got to adapt.
Yeah.
It's no different on the court. You just have to adapt. And I try to adapt the best that I can to the team that I have now. And both were fun and both are fun. Yeah.
I'm sure they're both in their own ways very special, obviously. We talked about Mike a little bit, but going back to his early run in Homenetmen, we obviously know he killed it. Shocked everybody when we first saw him play. Tell us a little bit about what it's like coaching a guy that is that offensively skilled to the point where he can take over the game at any moment himself. What's it like incorporating the guys around him as well?
Mike, amazing talent. One of the best Armenian players ever. One thing I'll say about Mike, and a lot of people don't know this, Mike wants to be coached. Mike wants you to yell at him, wants you to tell him what he's doing wrong. And a lot of people looking at him play would think that no, he doesn't. He kind of wants to do his own thing. Because in the beginning, I was a little bit hands off him because of how great he was. But then, we have great communication with each other. And he would tell me, I want to be coached. I want you to tell me if I'm messing up or whatnot. And again, I'm not going to teach Mike how to shoot. I'm not going to teach Mike how to play the game. That's not my job. He's already who he is. The only thing that I can do to help him is game management. As far as managing the game, as far as picking and choosing when he shoots sometimes and when to get some other guys involved to make sure that they're on board. And kind of thinking the game, which he's done tremendously, but it's just a pleasure to coach that guy.
Sure.
He's an amazing talent.
Did you know anything about him prior to coaching him? Did you?
Well,
what did you know?
The first time I saw him play in person was in 2010, the year that they won the finals. I think it was our last year with LA. Actually, we beat him in the preliminary games.
Oh.
We beat them, but he was such an amazing talent. I'm like, oh my goodness, this guy's special player. We beat them. We got lucky. We beat him during the preliminary games, but then we lost, I believe, to Shant. They had a great team in the quarters, I believe, and then they ended up playing in the finals, and he won the finals, and he just put on a performance of the ages on that championship game.
Moving forward to 14 and 15, Pat touched on it a little bit. You guys played us in 2014. I was on that team, and then 2015 again. But looking back at those games, obviously you had played against early Ararat teams with your LA guys. Now you see a different Ararat team, like you mentioned, Little Z, guys like Narb get added to this group. What are some of the early challenges that you saw in that new rivalry?
Wow. I mean, it was like Ararat 1 2.0 renewed the rivalry, It just amazing. Narbe, so much respect for him. He's just such a grinder, great competitor. Little Z, Big Z. I mean, their whole team, Tio, sometimes he goes under the radar, but, you can put him on a team and build around him separately. Just he's that good. And just a tremendous amount of role players that you guys had. It was just so tough because how do you game plan? Who do you take away? Big Z, Little Z, Narb. It was a battle of the heavyweights, like I said, it just, who's going to be the last man standing? It's going to be a close game. You just hope that
you have the ball in your hand.
You got the last possession and you win the game. I mean, that's really it.
I'm sure your team was looking forward to playing those guys more than anyone else.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think both teams look forward to playing each other. It just, you know what it is? It's a healthy rivalry because there's a lot of respect amongst the teams.
Big time.
There might be some smack talking or whatnot during the games, but off the court, everybody's friends. So
True.
It's a great rivalry. It's fun. I mean, we love it. We don't get paid, obviously, but to us,
this is what it's all about for us.
Yeah, it's just the whole bragging rights of winning,
Being in that gym during that final weekend is, can't explain it to other people. Let's talk about the 2015 final a little bit. We'll go into a little bit of detail with that.
Okay.
The 2015 final, crazy ending. But let's talk about the beginning. You guys that year face Ararat in the group stages. You guys lose to them in the group stages. Final game comes. I think Shara's having back problems. You don't have Chris. You don't have Gore. And I know, like we talked about it, you guys weren't even considered to even be close in that game for most people. You're missing 3 of your major guys. And here you are. Mike drops 42 points out of the 67. And everything's leading to this ending, this spectacular ending, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's thinking, okay, Mike is going to finish this spectacular game off. But as we know, we had a different hero that game. Take me back to that preparation of that championship game after just losing to A1 a few weeks earlier.
So you mentioned Shara. So he comes to me right before the game. We're thinking we're going to have him, and his back is really messed up. I mean, he pulled his shirt up. I'm like, what happened to you? He's like, I don't know, bro. I can't go. And Shara is a gamer. There's no way he's going to miss a game. And if he says I can't go, then he can't go. So then we huddled up. And I think that's sometimes as a leader, that's kind of when you have to step up and show confidence and step up as a leader and say, all right, next man up. Shara's down. But we have great players. I mean, we have, RD, he, amazing role player, hustler, defender. But Mike Kiraz, great shooter. Big Art, my center. So we have guys who've been there before, They've been playoff tested. And Alex Tima, another guy, played in the trenches, which kind of will go to that last play. But so I told the guys, we have enough to win. Yeah. It's one game. Next man up. That's it. Yeah, we would love to have Shar. He's not here. Okay, we're not going to cry about it. Next man up. Come on, everybody. It's championship game. Adrenaline's pumping. We're going to do this. Let's keep the game close. As long as, we keep the game close, we got Mike on the team, man. And as long as you have Mike on the team and the supporting cast that we had, you got a shot. And, we got lucky.
Yeah. So let's show you that game footage. I want you to kind of break it down for anyone that wasn't there. So we're just gonna jump off right,
Oh,
almost
man.
second to last possession, almost.
Okay.
You guys are down by 1, so give me your thoughts on what's going on during this whole thing.
Okay, so they were overplaying Mike on that one play that he just drove to the basket, and that's one thing. When I was mentioning to you how he likes to be coached, that's one thing we try to add a little bit to his game is when they're overplaying you, try driving and taking those pull-ups instead of settling for the 3 all the time, which he's amazing at. So that's one example of he did that. They were overplaying him. He went around and just got that layup. And then we came down against such a tough matchup with these guys. I mean, he just kind of bullies over everybody and just shoots over everybody, grabs his own rebound, scores. And then Ararat called timeout. Artin called timeout.
So right
and I love
there,
Art.
you didn't call it.
No.
Art
no,
calls a timeout.
No. He called a timeout. So it's 13 seconds left and we're down by 1. And I would love to say and take credit that the play was for Alex Tima to get the ball and score layup to win, but that wasn't the case. So what happened was
coming out of this timeout.
Coming out of the timeout, yeah. So we, Artin called a timeout, so we huddled up. We had 13 seconds left, so that's plenty of time to bring the ball up full court.
Mm-hmm.
And the reasoning behind that was if you're going up full court and the defense is on its backpedaling, I think the offense is at the advantage.
Definitely.
So you're going with 94 feet of floor versus half of the floor.
Yeah.
The plan was, again, this is where I say the players win the games. The plan was either Mike or Minas get the ball, we're going to try to set a screen for Mike to get off his shot. If that wasn't the case, then Minas is our primary ball handler at the time. So he was going to bring the ball up and do a dribble handoff, which is a play that we had to Mike to come off a little curl and shoot. So, and if you look at the play, they were denying Mike really well. And Minas, being a high IQ player, which he's learned, because when Minas came into the league, he was more of an athlete. He was known for his dunks.
Tarzan was
his nickname, dunk. But he's, his IQ matured. He understood the game more. And that's one of the things that we try to teach is be unselfish. And I have the 3 philosophies that you guys probably know when we think we'll talk about that. But so what happened in that play was, so Mike was overplayed. So Minas held onto the ball and he saw the floor, and Alex kind of snuck in behind the defense. Mm-hmm. He was wide open under the basket. Minas found him and he scored a layup, and that was the game.
I think the biggest thing that I took away from that last play was when Minas has the ball, his first option obviously is looking at Mike.
Yeah.
He's not there. He moves on. He goes.
Yeah.
He realizes, okay, I'm not going to just hold the ball here. I got to attack.
Correct.
And when he's attacking, he has his head up the whole time.
Which goes back to what I say is we have a good team. We're not a one-man team.
Yeah.
So Mike, amazing player, but we had a good surrounding cast. So I had complete confidence in the guys to make the play. And that's why I decided to take it full court, because I thought that the advantage would be us if we're full court, because we're going to have the full court to deal with. And the defense is backpedaling with us pushing the ball. And it worked out for us. Yeah.
Great moment for you guys right there. One of the things I've seen at the end of the celebrations, the first thing that you're always doing is like you're the most calm championship winner I've seen. First thing you do is go, congratulate the other team for the game they had too. So
a lot of respect there. Yeah.
Yeah, I respect my opponents. I mean, like I said, a lot of them I'm friends with. But even if I wasn't, I think you just have to lead by example. And even the teams that I coach, I try to, have them not be showboaters, because there's kids watching the games, and I know it's hard because, you get emotional, you start cursing or whatnot, and you get technicals and you kick balls and stuff. But, I always like to remind them, like, there's kids that look up at you as like role models, they come to the championship game. Oh my God, they're like watching you play. So, and I try to keep composure myself as a coach. So, you got to lead.
I don't think I've ever seen you get heated as a How many tees have you got?
I mean, I guess my style is I don't get too high and I don't get too low. I try to stay even keeled, and I think
it keeps your team composed.
And it keeps the team composed. Yeah. And one thing with us, we're up by 15 or down by 15. It's the same. We're playing the same way. We're not like, gonna be yelling and screaming and getting technicals, and you just got to keep playing the same way. And a lot of times that happens. Sometimes it doesn't. Things go out of whack. But I think for the most part, I try to do the best that I can is lead by example, and try to be a good sportsmanship type of a coach, and be even keeled, because I don't like the tension on me. I want the tension on the players. You know, I just want to be behind the scenes helping them win. That's it.
Definitely. We've seen that Massis team the last couple of years be competitive, but obviously had a few shortcomings along the way. We've seen the team kind of change in some ways. What's the current situation with your Massis team now that we've seen guys come and go, guys like Tade, Sevon. What's the outlook for the future for you guys?
So our future is really good. Looks really bright. We got, still got Mike. We got, Minas. We got Big Art. We have Gore back now.
Okay.
He's getting back in shape. We have Avo, Mike's little brother. He's not so little anymore. He's 6'4", great shooter, defender, great length, wingspan, and we got a good core. We got a really good core, and I like our chances. I'm always looking to improve the team, but our core is looking good right now.
Nice. Going back just a little bit, one of the funny things that Pat and I have always talked about was this, jumping from one chapter to another.
Yeah.
We both at one point wanted to come play for Massis and especially play for you, obviously. And there's something always in the back of our heads and most people's heads, like jumping from Homenetmen chapters.
It's tough to move from chapters.
It is,
It's
especially if you grew up your whole life playing for the chapter.
Yeah.
No, I can relate.
I can relate.
I can relate because it was hard for me as a coach. Let alone as a player, like you guys. But look, I've had some great additions, and sometimes additions don't work out. It's not necessarily that they're bad players or bad kids. It's just the chemistry isn't there.
Yeah.
And until you tried, you're not going to know. And especially when you're playing with Mike and some great players who won championships. Sometimes it's hard to kind of incorporate guys who are also good players, but gonna maybe take a step back a little bit or whatnot. But I have a lot of respect for Tade, and Sev didn't work out, another great player. But sometimes you just have to find your niche in your team and the circumstances of your situation to succeed. And I guess you can say I failed in that situation, but sometimes it's just hard.
It is.
It's just very difficult.
One thing that we do is we want to give you one memory to look back on and see what you would have changed. With the fun memories also comes a few bad ones over the years.
You mean the Orange County wasn't enough?
That one, people can go watch that. I'm not going to show you.
Yeah.
But this one, I'm going to bring back last year's Navasartian.
Yeah.
Crazy game. You guys end up playing an up-and-coming Shant 2 team. And we've seen they can put up points. This game went in the early, low hundreds with shot clock and all that nowadays. So I'm going to show you a clip, but take me back to what you remember about that game before I show you the ending.
Wow, that game. I mean, Hrashq had a team. Those guys were wound up. They had a crowd, and they were like the Cinderella team that everybody was cheering for. And they had a great run. And I'll be honest, he caught us off guard. The team caught us off guard because I don't know if it was our first tournament in 1A or second. Or
it was
first.
It was
their
it?
first.
So I hadn't really scouted them. I'd never seen that team. I'll be honest. And again, I take that responsibility on myself. But I never really saw them play. So I did a poor job in preparing my team for that game. So again, I feel so bad. Again, like I was telling you guys, the losing, it's like you always sit back and think, okay, what could I have done differently? Nothing to take away from those guys. They had a great game. I mean, Arman Possession, what an amazing talent. I mean, that kid is something special. And he went off for 57 points. And we just couldn't stop him. We switched players. I think I should have doubled him more looking back again, but it was one of those that it just kind of happened so fast and never seen them play.
The team had a lot of shooters too.
Yeah, and they have good shooters around them. Hrashq did an amazing job. And they beat us, man. They beat us. And we actually felt we had a good chance that year.
It was a good team.
I'm not saying we would have beat Ararat 1, but they were stacked. I mean, they were just rolling over everybody that year.
Yeah.
But I thought if anybody had a chance, a fighter's chance, it was us.
Yeah. I agree.
But unfortunately, we didn't get that opportunity.
Let's go through that, the ending. I'm going to take us right to the last 30 seconds or so.
Yeah.
Shant's shooting a free throw. So take me back to, they have the ball. They're shooting some free throws. I think it's a 1-and-1, and he misses the first one. So
yeah, he misses it, and then we get the rebound.
You get the ball, and no timeout. I think you guys just go straight into the ball in Mike's hand. So what?
Yeah, we did a substitution, I believe. And so basically, the play. In these situations, I don't like to call a timeout because I trust my players, and I don't want the defense to get a chance to set up their defense. So especially when you have a player like Mike who can beat anybody one-on-one, I don't want the defense to huddle and have a timeout and say, okay, we're going to double Mike or whatnot. So, and like I said, like how we won in 15, same thing. We just, we didn't call timeout in that situation either. And even though we had a timeout, this one, again, the play was to have Mike go down and either dribble handoff, give him a screen, and try to get off a good look. And I always like to save a timeout for the end of the game in case we get stuck. Instead of turning the ball over, to have that timeout as a safety feature. And he came down, he had an open three, and he passed it to his brother, Avo, who, kind of short-armed it a little bit, and he missed. But again, going back to that play, 99% of the time Mike shoots that shot, and complete confidence that he's going to make it.
I think seeing his brother in the corner...
They doubled them on that play, so it would have been a tough shot.
Mike, you can throw 3 guys at him, he's still going to get a shot off that guy. But again, that's something underrated about Mike. A lot of people think he's just a volume shooter. Yeah, he shoots a lot. He is a volume shooter, but he's also an unselfish player, and he'll make the right basketball plays. And his brother was a great shooter. The baseline shot is his shot. He saw him open, and he gave that shot. And he just missed it, unfortunately. And, like I was telling you guys, it's not a 7-game series. It's one game. It's a game of inches sometimes. At the end of the game, it's who gets the last shot. We missed it, and they got the ball. They advanced it, I believe, right? Let me rewind this. I'm trying to forget this whole situation. So we tried to overplay the 3-point side and try to have them inbound the ball towards midcourt so that if they do shoot it, it's going to be a 40-foot prayer kind of a shot, which we did. And now he got open somehow and just threw it up, and it went in, and that was the game.
I'll give him a little shout out. Nick, good shot, man.
Nick, good shot. That one stung, man, I have to say. That one stung. Thanks for bringing up that memory.
It's a tough one to watch, I know. I mean, I was getting updates, texts every second what was going on, but it happens, man.
Yeah, but Arman had an amazing game. I mean, just amazing game.
Well, I think for Homenetmen to be great, we have to see your guys' teams there. Yeah. Because everyone loves watching you guys play. Yeah. Let's move forward. A few years ago, we both got the chance to play together under you for the Western USA team.
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah, 2017. A fun experience. It was definitely one of my most memorable times being in Armenia, and I've been there 3 times now. But tell me what it was like being selected as the coach, and what was kind of your early process of developing the team. Yeah.
So I had gone to Armenia twice in 99 and 2001, I believe, as a coach. And so I hadn't gone for a long time. So it was, I was honored that, they chose me to coach the team. And there was 2 teams going from here. It was the Ararat team, and our team was the second team. And we had to put together a team basically from all the other chapters mostly, and some Ararat guys too. And I think the whole mentality of that team was to put guys who are good enough to win, but also have the right personality to fit in, and who are going to have fun, and who respect the game and respect teammates and coaches and the competition. So it was basically having the right group of players, not necessarily the best players that are available, but the best players available for that one unit. And I thought we had a great run. We lost to the Glendale team, our team, in the finals. They had more chemistry than we did because they've been playing longer with one another, and our practices were kind of guys were coming from Fresno and all over the place, OC. And it was kind of OC, and it was kind of hard to build chemistry, but we did. I thought we built chemistry real fast, and we did, I just enjoyed every minute of it. I still talk to a lot of the guys like you guys and stay in touch. Whether it's basketball-wise, business-wise, family-wise, girlfriend problems, whatnot, guys, I still talk to. And to me, again, it's those special relationships that we build in Homenetmen. To me, that's very precious.
I think we both talked about it. For us, a lot of that trip, I hate to say it, was not basketball oriented in most of the ways. Like, we had such a great time together, going to different venues, taking care of our responsibility as like Homenetmen guys. We talked about it a little bit, hitting locations that we felt was important, like the orphanages and stuff like that. It was definitely a great trip, and obviously if we won that final game, it would have been a little better, but I still take that as like one of my most memorable trips of all time. So
do you remember the 3 things that I told you guys, expectations when we went as far as basketball goes?
I remember just a little bit.
There's 3
requirements that I have on all the players. Play high IQ basketball,
unselfishness,
play unselfish basketball, and play with passion on both sides of the ball.
There we go.
And one thing I want to kind of touch on before I answer that question, as far as coaching, because you kind of brushed on it a little bit as far as the difference. Today's game has changed. So to me, you have to have everybody be a threat on the floor now. Whereas back in the day, you could have somebody who doesn't score, you're just there to rebound or whatnot. But you have to have versatile guys now who can, triple threat players who can rebound, shoot, dribble, pass. And the more of those kind of players that you have, the better the chances I think you're going to have of winning. Because it's hard to cheat off of guys when you have complete players. But again, going back to my philosophy is I love high IQ players, think the game, play with passion on both sides of the floor, defense and offense, because defense is 50% of the game. So you can't just, hoping somebody misses a shot is not playing defense. I always tell my players that. Probably told you guys a million times. Hoping a guy missing a shot that you're guarding is not playing defense. You got to play defense. And then a lot of times we talk about roles, and I think we had this discussion with you guys too. I'm sure we did when we were talking about roles. Some people think, oh, you know what, my role is I'm the shooter on the team. Okay. The roles always come on defense. The roles aren't on I'm sorry, the roles always come on offense, not on defense. Everybody has to play defense. There's no roles in defense. You don't get a bye because you're Mike Danielian or Sako Balyan or whoever you are. It doesn't, from 1 to 12, doesn't matter. Your job is to play defense. That's not a role. That's a requirement. The roles come on offense. So where, who's on 1 option, 2 option, inside shooter, whatever the situations may be. But I think that's something that's very important to distinguish, because a lot of times I've had issues with guys saying, my job, that's not my role. Of course it's your role. You have to play defense. You don't have to be the best defender, but you got to give the effort, because defense doesn't take talent. Defense is effort. There's some talent in defense, but 90% of it is heart and the willingness to want to defend. And if you don't want to play defense, that means you don't want to try, and you're letting your teammates down. And defense, it's a scheme. It's a schematic thing. You can't have 3 guys play defense, 2 guys not play defense, because it breaks down. So you got to have all 5 guys playing defense. But going back to the Armenia trip, amazing trip. And one of the things that we talked about a lot before we went there was we wanted to actually enjoy Armenia. We're Armenians. We love Armenia. It's our home country. Some of the guys had never gone there. Some of us had gone there a few times. But we wanted to take it and enjoy every minute of it. It's our motherland. We wanted to go and enjoy the country. We wanted to enjoy the people, the restaurants, the scenery, the destinations. And it was very important that we actually ended up going to the orphanages as a group of the organization, not only our team. And the one that we went to was a special needs organization, orphanage, I have to say. And that's, special for me because for those of you who don't know, I have a special needs son. He's got a severe type of epilepsy and his special needs. So that was like really, really like, I had tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
And my wife was strong, she's stronger than I am. And I have to say thank you to Maral. She's always been there supporting me because it's hard. It's a lot of work coaching going back. So I don't mean to flip flop, but it's a lot of dedication, the practices, the games, besides people come and see the last weekend to see the product on the floor, but they don't see the whole year of the league games that you play, the practices, the grind. So, and you have to have a supportive family and spouse that, because you're away from them and you're going and spending the time. So, I mean, thank you so much. And, I couldn't
need that supporting.
Her. But going back to that, the orphanage, we went back there and that was special to me because, I have a special needs son and he'll never play basketball. But, it was tough because I'm kind of tearing up now thinking about it. but you have to
It
give
was
back.
a memorable
You have to give
time.
back. It was a memorable time, and we have to always thank God for what we have.
Yeah.
We always have to thank God for our blessings. I thank God every day. Like, I'm a special needs dad, but I'm proud to be a special needs dad because my son needs me and my wife. So I'm super proud of it. But it's really, really important that I think the team saw those kids realizing, wow, we're so lucky to have our health, to have families, to have, and these kids need help. So it was like, I think it was really special and eye-opening. And it was just going and buying toys and giving it to them, just seeing the look on their faces, and the gifts that we got them. I think that was just so precious.
Do you remember when Nick was holding that kid and the kid was trying to dunk and
Nick
the
was,
smile on his after?
Nick, amazing player, character, but amazing player. Yeah, he was carrying the one kid and he was trying to dunk. And those kids, it was
funny
amazing.
seeing the one
to
guy.
me, that was the highlight of the trip.
Yeah.
You want to win, obviously, but there are certain things in life that are more important than winning. And seeing the kids, the look on those kids' faces and helping out, I thought was really, really special.
Very.
I want to talk a little bit about my experience with the team. One thing I noticed was your organization. Like you said, players were all over the place. Fresno, Montebello, Ararat, a few Massis. But you did a really good job of texting everyone saying, hey, we got scrimmages. Come. We have practice. Sunday morning. Everyone be there. Everyone held each other accountable too. And practices were always super competitive. I think that's one thing I really liked about your coaching was that you allowed the players to just compete, lay it all over there. And it was always competitive. Nick was always getting to it with Rafi. I remember Narbe Pez was getting to it with Rafi Aljemian a little bit. But I think that was the fun part about it. That's the thing I take away from it. It was always great competitive practices. You treat us like grown men, let us play our game. Once in a while you had to step in, but you had a really calm demeanor, which I liked. And when we went there, we had such a great bond. We were going out with different groups. It wasn't just one or two guys every time. We were going out with Nick one night. We were going out with, Ryan or Rafi one night. It was always a great time.
Yeah, you guys deserve the credit. You guys were a great bunch. Great character guys, great players, but also great character guys. And it was easy to coach you guys. I'll be very honest because you guys had high IQ and you guys listened and you guys, did the right thing. I didn't have to worry about head cases and fights and this and that. Yeah, it was competitive. And, you guys kind of got a glimpse of my practices. I like to keep the game fun. At the end of the day, it's not college, it's not high school, it's not 5 days practices. We get one practice. And I play myself, so I know I want to go and I want to play basketball. I want to play 5-on-5. I don't want to go and do sprints and 2 hours of running and then go home, not touch a basketball. You can build chemistry and do all those things while you're playing. So why not get in shape while you're playing, but also build chemistry? So you're working on several things versus just doing one thing. So my practices are usually very competitive, but it's usually a lot of 5-on-5, a lot of running, and a lot of times I'll stop at quarter, or if something really bad I see, I'll stop practice. I'll say, okay, what happened right here? For example, you come down and you take a bad shot and you have a guy wide open under the basket. I'll stop practice right there. I'll say, okay, Alec, what were you thinking? Did you not see the guy? Or did you see him and still decide that you want to shoot it? So either you have poor court vision or you're a selfish player or made a selfish play.
Yeah.
So I like to stop the practice and just point those things out. I think those teaching moments are my job as an A-division coach is what I can help with the guys. Because I'm not going to teach you how to shoot. You can teach me how to shoot. I'm not going to teach you how to handle the ball or whatnot. But it's those game management, it's those IQ decision making in the game.
Most important.
Is what I think I can help bring to the team. So yeah, you guys were a great bunch. I just, all the guys, man, I have.
Would you go back?
Yeah, why not?
Honestly, Nova helped you out a lot too.
Nova, thank you for bringing up. Nova was an amazing,
perfect compliment.
Nova was an amazing. He made it so easy for me. He would be the one that would text you guys and, with the travel plans and stuff, and even game situations, I would lean to him and I would ask him stuff and foul situations or switching matchups or whatnot. And Nova, he's amazing person, amazing coach,
guy,
and we still keep in touch. I enjoyed every minute with him. I had never coached with him or really, talked to him as much more than hi and bye before games or whatnot. So I didn't really know him, and that's why I say his Homenetmen brings us all together.
Truly,
because of Armenia. I got a chance to know him and become friends with him, which all of this is a blessing for all of us.
Definitely. And to wrap up that portion of Armenia, I gotta agree with you. Playing in these Pan Homenetmen Games allows all these chapters to kind of join in together.
Yeah.
Moving forward to something that's really important, I think, for not just you, but for where Homenetmen is growing towards, Homenetmen Hrashq. Very, very important thing that I think is being introduced right now to our community. Something that I think it's only a few years old, right? I want you to kind of give us a little bit more of a background, because I've seen the work that they've been doing. It's amazing how much time they've put into this. But if you can give us just a little bit more of a detailed background on the whole process.
Yeah. So as a community, we've been growing. And the chapters you see have been growing. The number of Armenians is growing. We have more population. So with that comes more special needs kids. So there's all these kids that are Armenian that are special needs, that, like my son, who'll never get a chance to play. And there's no venue for them in Homenetmen. So Hrashq, again, shout out to the organizers, our Western regional, and all the members who put, thankless hours of job, putting these things together. It's a thankless job for them. It's a lose-lose situation. No one's ever happy at the end. But they put this chapter together. It's called Homenetmen Hrashq. And basically what it is, it's a special needs kids chapter. So any Armenian, or if you have a special needs kid, you want them to go and participate, whether it's track and field, basketball, soccer, or whatnot. Now we have a venue where it's getting organized, and we have practices, we have uniforms, and these kids come out, and you should just see the smile on their faces. The fact that they're on a basketball court wearing a Homenetmen jersey, shooting, playing, running. It's just amazing. And I think it's also good for the parents, because they have an opportunity. Hey, you know what? At least I'm doing something for my son or daughter, that I wasn't able to before. And thank you to Homenetmen, now I can. So I think it's an amazing, amazing chapter. I'm involved personally with it as I coach my son, and I try to help out the Hrashq chapter as much as I can. But I think, it's good to bring awareness, especially in our Armenian community, that it's okay to have a special needs child. It happens. It's part of life. But it's our job to give them the best quality of life to the special needs kids. So at Homenetmen Hrashq, it's another venue or avenue for us to do that for our children. So it's an amazing organization. Again, I thank the chapter. I thank Homenetmen, all the volunteers who do such an amazing job putting it together. And every year it's getting better and better. And we're getting more volunteers. And if you're a young person, old person, doesn't matter. If you want to volunteer, reach out to the Hrashq chapter. They're always looking for volunteers to help with with these kids and with the practices, and it's very fulfilling. You'll enjoy it.
Definitely. The greatest part about sports, I think, is that it has no boundaries. 90-year-old man, 5-year-old kid, doesn't matter who you are. You find a way to love the game in your own way. And that's the beauty of this whole thing. So hopefully, people see this, and hopefully they want to reach out and help as much as they can. So looking forward to that. We're almost wrapping up the episode, Carlo. Just a few more things that we'd like to get your thoughts on. NBA thoughts. I know you're a big time early Lakers fan, but with the current state of the NBA, I know you're probably still a Lakers fan, but what do you think about the whole resumption of the season? Who you got winning?
Well, I'm going to be biased. I'm a diehard Laker fan, so I want to say that we're going to win this year. But I really like our chances. I think we have a good squad. I think this rest actually helps us a lot because LeBron is older and AD is injury prone, so he got a chance to heal up, and we got a veteran bunch. And I think we have a really good shot. Milwaukee is going to be tough. The Clippers are going to be really tough. They're loaded, and they got 7 players who can hit a game-winning shot. They're loaded.
They all play defense.
They play defense. Yeah. Again, goes back to versatile players. Who do you cheat off of? You can't really cheat off of anybody. And Mo Williams can hit a game winner, or Paul George could, or Kawhi could, or even their bigs. They're talented. So it's a tough team. So that they're going to be tough. I like Milwaukee in the East, but I think they're not going to have enough to win. I think because Jan is not enough. I think he needs another player with him. and he doesn't have a good number or a strong enough number two. I think Middleton is their second best player. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I think you need to have two superstars or a superstar level. I like Houston to be a dark horse in the playoffs because in a short tournament, they got two superstars, Harden and Westbrook. They play small ball, kind of similar to our Massis team. I think they're going to have a good chance, but I just don't think they have enough size. I think getting rid of Capella, I wouldn't have done it. Like, you need that one big to rebound, and you can't just have 6'5" centers in the NBA. So I think that's going to hurt them eventually.
Speaking of NBA, we saw a few pictures of these NBA guys coming to your practice.
Yeah.
The notable Massis practices.
You got to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we were lucky enough. We play in several leagues throughout the year, and we got to know some of these ex-NBA players, like Nick Young, Dante Jones. Al Harrington was coming for a while. And, they're running these leagues, so we became friends with them, and they're really nice guys, and a lot of them live in the Valley. And our gym is at Chatsworth, so Canoga Park. So, got their numbers, and, a couple of the guys that are the main guys that we always invite. They like to come in on Boobie Gibson, who played for the Cavs. He comes once in a while. And the guys love it, and I like to spice up the practices. Guys get tired of playing against each other. I'm sure you guys know what the Ararat practices. You go up against each other, twice a week or every week, and it's like kind of gets boring after a while. So I try to spice it up a little bit, and what better than going up against NBA players in practice?
Yeah,
and
that's a great change of pace.
Yeah, and so the guys they love it.
Yeah,
they're early for practices. They're ready. They're stretching. It's
They'll bring their A game.
They bring their A game. Any scrimmage like a real.
And those scrimmages are they're like games.
Yeah.
Our scrimmages are like games. I mean, we go at it because those NBA guys, maybe they're not playing at 100%, but they don't want to lose.
Yeah.
They do not want to lose. And then once it starts getting competitive, it gets really competitive. And again, I think it's just the whole culture of the team is you want to basically demand greatness. So if we're going to be great, you want to play against great players. We want to play against better players, much better players, so that we get better. Once you think that, you're too good, then that's it. You're done. You always have to have that humble attitude, that have confidence that you are good, but not be cocky. There's a subtle difference,
Definitely.
Not too subtle, I would say, but you want to be confident, but not cocky. And I think playing against those guys, it's really good for getting us better and better prepared to play at the Homenetmen Games. Yeah, it's great.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Just the last couple of questions that I got for you. So I want to get your top 5 Homenetmen players of all time. I know you've been around so many different guys, but
that's just
top
so tough.
5. And I'll do what I did with Z. You don't have to go in
that's just so
position order. You can just name 5.
Oh, man, don't do that to me. That's just... Wow, okay. I think I'm going to eliminate a lot of players if they haven't played long enough or duration of time. Because there's a lot of talented players right now, but they're fairly new, or they just played 1 or 2 tournaments or 2 years. I would start off, wow, that's tough. Mike Donnellian, Sako Bayan, best power forward ever. Little Z, Big Z, got to put them in there based on the length of time, their talent, their championships. And that 5th one, that's wow. I mean, I've coached against such great players. Wow. You can throw, I don't know, Jerry Armin there, the Kuchov brothers, Narbe from Ararat. Wow, that's a tough one, man. Big Robert, probably best center for me, most winningest center. He won 7 championships. There's just so many great players, man. That's a tough one. I don't know about my 5th, but I've been fortunate, man. I've gone through many years of great players, coaching with and against. So I think I would go with those guys.
We'll wrap it up. I'll give you the platform once again. If there's any last words that you want to say, I know you just mentioned it, but if you want to shout out anything, this is all you.
Well, I want to thank you guys for doing this. This is amazing. And for your time, for all this effort that you're putting to get this thing done. I think it's amazing. I want to thank all my former players and current players for all your hard work. The opponents that I've coached against, the coaches I've coached against. I mean, I've just been amazing ride that I've had. So I'm so thankful and blessed that I've had the opportunity. To the new generation, just keep working hard. Play unselfish, play high IQ, play team basketball with a lot of passion. Respect one another, respect your coaches, respect your teammates, your parents. Love God, pray. Always be thankful for what you have. And also for the Hrashq chapter, I wish them the most pleasant, I wish them that they have a lot of volunteers and a lot of success. And for those of you guys that have time to go and volunteer and help out the chapter, because it's a great organization, it's a great cause, and you'll enjoy it. So thank you, guys.
Words to live by, guys. That's about it for episode 2, guys. Thanks again for watching. Hit that subscribe button like we always tell you guys, because we got new episodes coming out. But thank you again to Carlo. This was a great one, guys. We'll see you guys next time. This is Off the Court. Peace.
Take care.